Hello, my name is Carmen Ketron. I'm the Urban Horticulture Agent for Clemson Extension in Florence and Darlington counties. And today I'm here with Clay Owens of the South Carolina Orchid Society.
Hi, how are you?
Good, how are you?
I'm doing great.
Excellent. So one of our big questions always with anyone who comes in and asking about orchids is, how do I care for it? Did I kill it? Things like that. And can you help us?
I am definitely here to help you. If you give me a little bit of time, I can ease all your fears and show you how to make sure you're successful with orchids that you might buy in your local stores or nursery and garden centers.
Wonderful. Where do we start?
So the first thing that happens is most people say, I bought an orchid. What do I do? Fantastic. Well, these are the most common orchids. You have the Phalaenopsis or moth orchid. You're going to find these in stores and they come in mini, medium, or standard size. Any one of these has the exact same care requirements. They will stay in bloom up to 3 months. So you may lose a few blooms, but they will stay in bloom and could even rebloom for you in that time. But you need to know how to take care of your plant to be sure to do that. The first thing I want to talk about is these plants come in these decorative containers. These are just decorative. They are not what you want to keep the plant in when you're watering the plant. That's why you can take your plant out gently and you're going to see that they have usually a transparent cup inside, and that cup has a hole in the bottom. When you water your orchid, which should only be approximately every 7 to 14 days. Now, every plant's different because everywhere you grow it is different. So there is no answer of how often do I water my plant. You water your plant when it needs to be watered. You can look here and see this plant is very, very moist. You can see the water, but look at the roots. The roots are very green. Green means they've absorbed water. When they are dry, they're going to be silver color or gray. Gray means that the outer cover of the root, which is called vellum, is dried out. When you water it, you're going to make it green, and that's how you know it's absorbing the water. So if you ever think, I need to water my plant, the first thing you do is take it out and look. If you see water, it's not time. Let it keep drying out. They need to have a dry period because they actually breathe through their roots. If you keep them in water, they're going to drown. So make sure that you're doing that on a regular basis. Water your plant with room temperature water, and ideally water it on the side. Don't water directly on the top. And I'll tell you why, because these plants normally don't grow straight up and down. We do that so they look pretty. They normally grow on the side so the water runs off the plant. If you let your plant hold the water in the top, it can actually cause rot and it could kill your plant.
Nobody wants that.
No, that's the bummer of plants.
Okay.
So make sure it stays dry, and once you have watered it, let it sit and just drip dry. When it's completely stopped drip drying, take it back, put it back in your container, and put it back where it came from. That's all you have to do. You want to put them in an indirect light area. The rule is let them see light, but don't let the light see them because they can burn. Think about it. Orchids aren't at the top of a tree. They're in the middle or the bottom where they have diffused sunlight. That's what they need for care. You want to have a temperature that's comfortable for you. Anywhere between 65 and 80 degrees is about the average. If you're comfortable, if you don't get too much sun and you have a good airflow, that's exactly what the plant wants as well.
Easy enough.
It is. If you like it, they'll like it. So once you have your plant and it has stopped blooming, like this one, people will say to us, my plant's dead. There's no more blooms.
All the time. Yep.
And they throw it away. Your plant's great. Your plant is beautiful. Look at these leaves. They're upright. They're solid. They're very full plant leaves.
And I see the silver that you're talking about with the roots.
Exactly. This means this plant is dry. So this one has not been watered recently. So this is a perfect time for us to do a little repotting. You can see that it's a white root, but the plant is still vigorous and you have 2 spikes. The spike is where the blooms used to be, and you can see all the little blooms have fallen off. This plant is ready to go. It doesn't have to be repotted because this plant doesn't need to be in a huge pot, but we're going to do that today to show you how to take care of your plant. Now, sometimes your plant may actually be on the way out. This is an example of that. You can see we've got yellow leaves. They're falling off the plant. This is saying this plant had water in the wrong way and it's rotted. You might be able to resuscitate this plant, but honestly, just start over. Just take this and say, it was a good try, but we're not going to do that one. And then finally, if this is your plant and you have this on your desk or at home, yes, you have unfortunately found a dead plant. There's no leaves. This is brown. It's dried. The roots are shriveled. They're bad. There's nothing to be done for this plant. This is truly the dead plant. So we're going to get rid of this, and instead we're going to focus on how do you take care of a plant like this. Now, questions that we get asked is, I have these 2 spikes. What do I do? You have choices. Choice number 1, first thing you want to do is these little spikes are held up on these rods. The rods here can come out very easily, so you want to get rid of those. They're just there to support a blooming plant. And if you look along the spike, you have little nodes. Each of these little nodes is an opportunity for something to happen. So, when a plant blooms, it takes a lot of energy to produce blooms. If you want it to rebloom, you can take a pair of clippers, just like this, and you want to disinfect them. We do this with alcohol, 70% alcohol, just like you would for your own cuts or wounds. You want to disinfect.
Always good practices.
And you have a choice. Choice number 1, cut the entire spike off so that all the energy goes into the plant. You go about 1/2 inch from the bottom, right down here, and then you're going to just take it and clip it off. Done. That's all you do. And now the energy that would have been in 2 spikes is going into the plant. Think about your spring blooming bulbs, your lilies. They have to recharge. Your amaryllis blooms. If they're constantly in bloom, you're going to have smaller flowers or it's going to hurt the plant. Your other option is to, again, take the little support rod off, and now instead of cutting off on the very, very bottom, what you can do is you can cut it off at a midway point. If you select a node, which I have one right here in the middle, I'm going to cut it right above the node, just like so, at a little bit of an angle. Now, I want to take a little bit of my alcohol. I'm going to just put it on because it's a wound. We want to make sure that is disinfected. You can put alcohol or ground cinnamon. Ground cinnamon is great for orchids because it seals the cut and it doesn't allow infection to go in. Now, one of 3 things is going to happen. Number 1, this may just turn brown and die off. You just cut it off, it's done. Number 2, it may decide to send up another little spike off the side, and you could have another set of blooms. Probably less blooms and a little bit smaller, but you'll have blooms again. Or it might start to produce a little plant with little roots and leaves, and that's called a keiki, K-E-I-K-E-I. It's the Hawaiian word for baby. So it's a little baby plant that eventually will grow leaves and roots, and when it gets large enough, you can cut it off, repot it, and you'll have an exact duplicate of your original plant.
How fun!
So you have all those options. Now, if you decide, you know what? My plant needs to be repotted. You say, it's in good shape, like this one, and I want to change it. The reason you would repot is, number 1, the plant has outgrown its pot. If it does get larger, you only want to go up 1 pot size, so about another inch in diameter. Or you need to inspect the roots. I can't see what's happening. Maybe my plant is getting soggy leaves or wrinkled. Very often people have wrinkled leaves and they think, oh, it needs more water, it needs more water. It's the opposite. The plant has rotted the roots and it can't take up water anymore, but I need to inspect it. Or it's been in the pot so long that all of this bark is turning into dirt. They need to have airflow because those roots need to breathe. And so if it's been in the pot for some time, you want to refresh it. You want to give it new nutrients. And that's what we're going to do today. This plant has been growing in here for some time. So what we've done is we've taken a mix, and our mix was made with orchid bark, which you can find in the big box stores. And you want to make sure it's orchid bark. It's not soil, it's not dirt, and it looks a lot like this. There's different sizes and grades, but you want a little medium size, maybe like the size of a dime or smaller, and you want to put some sponge rock or perlite into there as well, all to create that airflow so there's space around the roots. I actually prefer to buy the bark and the perlite that you can see. The bag has little windows in it. You can actually check it. Or if you get in there and feel the bag, you can know how big it is. And sometimes it's sold with orchids, it tells you the size. It says it's the size of, fine grain, medium, or bigger, and that's what you want. The bigger for the bigger plants, medium for the smaller plants.
And then that air.
Exactly. Okay. That's all you're going for. And then it's kind of like cooking. You blend it together. And so I've created a little mix here that is all of the bark mixed together with some of that perlite, and you'll notice it's in water. Yep. I've soaked it. And here's why. We just said this plant hasn't been watered recently. And so if I put dry media with this, any water that's still in the plant could get sucked out into the bark. I want the bark to provide some nutrients instead. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take my plant and just gently loosen it up by squeezing the pot all the way around like this. And then very gently, I'm going to extract my plant. I'm just going to take it out, and hopefully it's going to cooperate with me. And I'm just going to keep moving it around until it slides right out, just like so.
Like a glove. Excellent.
Now, I want to get rid of all of the bark that is in the pot because it could be old, and it's the only way that I can do an inspection of the roots. So we've done this. We've gotten our plant and our roots. And now you're going to see something that's very common. If you look in the middle, there is a little plug. That plug is sphagnum moss or tree fiber. It's what the plant, when it was a little baby plant, was originally put into, but it doesn't need it anymore. So we're going to get rid of it. Okay. And now it's clear and easy. Look at these roots. Feel that root. Okay. What does it feel like? Is it firm or is it squishy?
It's a little squishy.
It's got a little squish, but still firm compared to maybe a root like this one.
Oh, yes.
If the root is flat or the root looks brown and desiccated, you want to get rid of it. Okay. So we're going to take our little clippers and we are going to disinfect our clippers with our alcohol. So we're just going to make sure we have our alcohol. We're going to make sure this clears it up. A blowtorch is also great to make sure that you take care of it. But no one wants to have me with a blowtorch at early morning.
Me neither. They don't let me play with those toys.
So then you're going to go in and just clip off any little dead roots. If you see something dead, like if this looks suspicious.
Oh, see, and it's got that papery, yes.
So we're going to take that and just clip it off like that. Mm-hmm. Now look at the rest of these roots. These are some champion roots.
Everybody else is looking fabulous.
I've got one down here. Do you want to try cutting that one for me?
Where do I cut all the way to the next?
You want to cut down to wherever it doesn't look good anymore.
Okay, so that still looks pretty good. So I would probably cut right there. Is that,
there you go. Okay? Perfect.
And then I go back in.
Exactly, okay. Disinfect. And now it looks like we've got some really good root system. So the last thing we want to do is disinfect. Okay. We talked about alcohol earlier. Hydrogen peroxide, like you would use in your home, is another great tool. I can take hydrogen peroxide, lightly spray my roots a little bit, and any little pests or bacteria that might be on the plant are now going to be killed because usually they are soft-bodied, and so the hydrogen peroxide will actually kill the little pests and it's going to break down into water, so it's not going to harm anything. Now we have a plant that's ready for repotting. So you have to be sure that you have the right pot. And I've given you two examples here that you can easily find in any store. You have your traditional terracotta pot like this one, or you have a clear pot. This one has holes throughout the pot, which is perfect for all types of orchids so they can have that airflow. And it's great because you can see the roots through something like this. This pot is wonderful because being made of terracotta, the water and the air can still permeate through the pot, and you can see based on where the water is if it needs to be watered once again. And because these plants get very top heavy, you want to have a little extra weight. So what we're going to do today for a Phalaenopsis is put it into this pot. Because Phalaenopsis or moth orchids are special in that their roots are photosynthetic. So they actually process energy through their roots as well.
You have to have the light.
So we need the light, and that's how it keeps them green. We are going to put them into a pot. You can see it's just a little bit bigger.
Yep. And
I'm going to get it down so that it's a little bit below the line of the pot, but not so the leaves are not below where the bark is going to go.
Okay.
We are then going to go for it. We're going to take a little handful and we're going to just put it on one side and then the other. Just like so.
Oh.
Yep.
This is so much easier than I thought it would be.
And notice I'm holding the plant so it doesn't sink down. Okay. And we want to keep a level area.
And I'm just pushing gently.
You got it. That's all you're doing. So we're going to keep going, just pushing down gently. Yep, you want it in there firm. And I keep checking to make sure that none of my roots and none of my leaves are lost. Okay. We're going to turn it around a little bit so that we can get all the sides. And notice I've kept it in the center of the pot. A Phalaenopsis only grows from one point and goes up. It doesn't grow out like an ivy or another plant that goes side to side. It only goes up. So now I'm pressing it in firmly, making sure it's all there, maybe a little bit more on this side.
Yes,
a little more, because it's going to settle a little bit. Perfect. All of our leaves are up. And now we're going to give it a little inspection. We are going to look through that clear pot to make sure that there's not an air pocket anywhere. So as we look around, see down here, we've got a little bit of an air pocket. So I'm going to push a little bit, make sure it goes down like so. There's a little more space, a little handful. And guess what? You have just repotted an orchid. That's all you have to do. And it's already wet. It doesn't need to be watered because we pre-watered it, but there is a last step to be covered, and that is some nutrients.
Okay, this is where I get nervous.
You can find something like this in any store. It is a liquid form of an orchid fertilizer. You want to mix this, it's about 1/4 of a teaspoon with a gallon of water. A
little bit goes a long way.
The rule is water orchids regularly, but fertilize them weekly. And I mean weakley, not a lot. Now, I'm a lazy orchid grower, so I love a granulated fertilizer. A little granulated fertilizer like this, you sprinkle on top and it lasts for 6 months. Every time you water it, it's going to get fertilizer on your plant. So you simply take a little bit, sprinkle it on top, sort of like you're salting or a dessert or something, and then you are done. And always remember, put your plant tag in your plant so you know what it is for later when it gets ready to bloom.
Well, thank you so much. I cannot wait to try this at home, and I feel a lot more confident about doing it. So,
well, fantastic. I'm glad that we could help. And remember, the South Carolina Orchid Society is here for anybody that has any orchid questions. You can find us anytime, day or night, at the internet with southcarolinaorchidsociety.org or South Carolina Orchid Society on Facebook and Instagram. We have care sheets, videos, information tips, and of course our meetings are in Columbia every third Sunday, once a month. We're happy to have you there and we can answer anything you might need to know.
I'm excited to use your resources. So
fantastic.
Thank you so much.